Welcome back, everyone. Ji-Kun is the 6th boss in the Throne of Thunder. As always, we have a written guide for this boss which goes into more detail. There's a link to it in the description and we recommend checking it out. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking the link in the upper right corner of the video to get notified of our new releases. You will need 2 tanks for this fight, and the number of healers can vary. 2 or 3 healers in 10 man and between 5 and 7 in 25 man are all viable options. This is a single phase fight during which you will fight Ji-Kun as well as a number of different types of adds. The fight takes place on 3 different levels. Ji-Kun is always on her platform and part of your raid will always be here engaging her. Below her platform there are 5 nests, and on each nest there are several eggs. These nests activate one after the other in succession. When a nest activates, the eggs on it turn into small adds called hatchlings, which you must defeat in a given amount of time before they become more powerful. Above Ji-Kun's platform there are also 5 nests. Just like with the nests below Ji-Kun's platform, there are eggs on these nests, which also activate at given intervals, and if these eggs are not killed in time, very powerful adds spawn from them. Your raid will need to kill Ji-Kun, all while regularly sending players to nests that activate in order to kill the adds present there. We will start by explaining what happens on Ji-Kun's platform before we move on to the nests. Ji-Kun is stationary in the center of her platform where she uses several abilities against your raid. Infected Talons and Talon Rake are debuffs applied to the current target, which impose a tank switch. Infected Talons is a stacking nature dot, and Talon Rake is a powerful attack that stacks a debuff which causes the target to take more damage from subsequent Talon Rakes. Caw is a nuke that Ji-Kun often casts. It targets 2 random raid members in 10 man and 5 in 25 man, dealing damage to them and anyone else within 8 yards of their location. This requires your raid to be spread out, but even the targeted players can avoid the damage from Caw if they move quickly enough. Downdraft is a spell that Ji-Kun uses to push players away from her and towards the edges of the platform. You need to run towards the boss to counter the push effect. Movement speed increasing abilities help. Quills is a raid-wide damaging attack that Ji-Kun channels for 8 seconds every 1 minute. It deals a very high amount of damage to all players, even those not currently on Ji-Kun's platform. Finally, Ji-Kun regularly casts Feed Young. This causes several balls of slime to fly up in the air above her and then slowly land on her platform. When they land, they leave behind damaging void zones called feed pools. A few things are worth mentioning here. Players can remove a feed pool by standing in it for 3 seconds, but this applies a dot to that player, causing them to take nature damage and increased damage from standing in feed pools. Feed pools can be prevented from spawning altogether if the balls of slime are intercepted in mid-air, something players are sometimes able to do thanks to the ability to fly, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Handling things on Ji-Kun's platform is not very difficult. Perform a tank switch, spread out for Caw, run in for downdraft, and heal the damage of Quills. Try to despawn feed pools here and there and generally avoid them. The difficulty of the fight comes from dealing with the nests. These nests activate in succession in a somewhat predictable pattern. The first nest to activate is always a lower nest, so you can jump on it. There you have to kill a few adds before they become too powerful for your raid to handle. Killing these adds grants you the ability to fly a few times for a few seconds, allowing you to reach the next nest where you have to kill more adds. New nests activate every 30 seconds. This activation cycle continues until the end of the fight, meaning that some players will have to keep flying from one nest to the other. Before we give you more details about how the nests activate and how you need to handle them, let's talk about what happens on them. By default, all nests, both lower and upper, have eggs on them which cannot be targeted or attacked. When a lower nest activates, the eggs on it turn into hatchlings, adds with low health that cast cheap at raid members, dealing relatively low damage. There are 4 hatchlings in 10 man and 5 in 25 man. After these adds spawn, they call out to Ji-Kun, who casts the next feed young at their nest instead of on her platform. The food tossed in this case by Ji-Kun does not leave feed pools on the nest. Instead, the balls of slime land next to the hatchlings who begin to eat them. After 10 seconds of eating, they turn into larger, more damaging adds called fledglings. If not killed rapidly, these adds spawn juveniles, which are very damaging adds that fly over the raid and cannot be killed. This is something that has to be avoided at all costs. When an upper nest activates, the eggs on it, called mature eggs of Ji-Kun, become attackable. You then have 20 seconds to kill these eggs before juveniles spawn from them. Just like the juveniles that eventually spawn from the lower nests, these juveniles fly over the raid, dealing damage, and they are out of range of attacks. Traveling to the upper nests or back up to Ji-Kun's platform from a lower nest is done through the Daedalian Wings ability. When hatchlings are killed, raid members on that nest gain an extra action button that grants them the ability to fly for 10 seconds. This ability has 4 charges, meaning that for each hatchling you kill, you can fly 4 times, although each flight has a 15-second cooldown. Now, the ways in which you should handle the nests are not really set in stone, and there are several strategies that work well. The idea is that groups of players will have to go to each nest as soon as it activates, and they will need to kill whatever is in that nest. To get to the upper nests, players need to fly, so they will have to have been on a lower nest previously or they won't have the ability to fly. We advise creating several nest handling groups. In 10-man, 2 groups of 4 players each should be fine, whereas in 25-man you can work with 2 groups or with more if you wish. One group will need to immediately jump down to the first nest that activates and kill the adds located there. They should then fly back up to Ji-Kun's platform and wait for the first upper nest to activate and use their extra action button to fly up to it. A different group should handle the subsequent lower nests. The second group will be taking care of the second upper nest that activates, and so on. Sometimes both a lower and an upper nest will activate at the same time, and when that happens, each group will have to go to one of the nests. In 25-man, you can have a group assigned to each of the 5 nest locations. Each upper nest is located above a corresponding lower nest, more or less, and they can just go to whichever the nest that activates on their location is, be it upper or lower. In any case, with regards to the lower nests, you have a lot of margin of error because it takes a long time until juveniles actually get to spawn. And even in the event that juveniles do spawn, 1 or 2 of them will not wipe your raid, and even many of them will take a while to overwhelm you. Lastly, players who have spare flight charges can use them to fly up in the air when Ji-Kun casts Feed Young and try to intercept the balls of slime in order to prevent the feed pools from spawning. Successfully doing this also grants these players a buff that increases their damage and healing done. While the fight is quite complex, its execution is not nearly as difficult as it may appear. If you have any more questions or if you want a deeper understanding, you can check out our written guide or ask on our forums. Thanks for watching and please subscribe.